Hi everyone, this is Kelly, and for once I think I can say that this will be a quick video. I have several videos about the Mildred Payne Oracle. If you've watched my channel, you know that I absolutely love this Oracle. I absolutely love the expansions that were done. I just love the whole process of the way that this Oracle came about and how it continues to come about. I actually think that the marketing of this and the finding of, different things sewn in the lining of a hem of a dress or buried in a, coffin or however these expansions came across, creating this whole story is something that I have really enjoyed. It's been, I think, a successful marketing of something that has added a lot of fun and interest for me. Now, not everybody feels the same, but I do. This is my Grave Diggers. I need to sign it though. Little letters. I just think it's fantastic. Now, I had the original iteration of the Mildred Payne with some expansions, and they all had different backings. Now, that I didn't like as much, even though I understood why. It was released as a single deck, final deck, with all of the backings being the same. And because I do use this in a reading that I offer for clients, I just like the aesthetic of everything, having the same backing, and it just looks really well put together. I also have, I'll try to put all the Mildred Payne videos in the links below. I know that some people think that this might be a skewed towards the negative or like a creepy deck, and it's really not. I mean, yes, it has creepy aspects to it because it's meant to be. So we do have like the fetus in here somewhere, but it is, I've done a video showing that it's actually a very well balanced deck along the lines of a Lenormand or Kipper or fortune telling decks of old, right? This idea of symbols, these simple symbols, creating decks like this is something that's been going on for a while, and this is a very balanced version of a deck like that. Now, recently, so right now as it stood, there are a total of 69. The harp was the last card that was released, and then this full deck with the box that it fits in. I ended up purchasing it because I had a friend who would be happy to have the other version that I had, and so I went ahead and got this version. Then an expansion just came out, and I definitely had mixed feelings about it because of two things. Number one, I now have a box that fits it. Do I care about boxes? Really not that much. But I did care if it was going to have a whole nother backing on it. Now I was going to go off again into the wild west of different backs. How can I handle this? But it was asked of... I could be wrong here, but I want to say that Mr. Jones Davy maybe messaged to ask about the backing, or heard somewhere that somebody did it and found that the backing was going to be the same. So then I was like, bam, 15 bucks, sure, I'm a sucker. Plus there was just a couple that were shown. I don't want to really look at that too close because there were a couple that were shown and I liked the ones that I had seen, but all of them were not revealed. I need to pull this curtain before I pull the cards out because, yeah, it's a little too shadowy and reflective. Sorry about that. I like the ones that were shown. I've been very careful to not watch any videos revealing all of the 15. And I will obviously note that this is what this video is so that you don't see them all if you don't want to, watch this. So if you're waiting for your 15 and don't want to see it, then look away. Here is the back of the paper, which is obviously meant to coincide and go with the rest of, to add on the rest of these. I will probably end up, I mean, obviously I can just staple this to here. I'll probably end up adding this into my little white book, adding all of the the basic meanings. But truthfully, these are like working with any like coffee grind images or tea leaf images, or again like Lenormand. The images kind of speak for themselves. So for the most part, the keywords are great if you're kind of stuck on it. Sorry about that. Hopefully I remember to cut that sneeze out. My allergies are in full swing. I should probably shut all the windows. Anyways, they are, you know, they're fairly easy to read, and while it's helpful to have the keywords, they aren't overly necessary, I think, if you're comfortable with this type of reading style anyways. So there it is, and then of course on the back is going to give us the same things that we have here, but I'm not going to look there yet because I don't want to see what's in here. So let me scroll in a bit. I love the little envelopes. You can see I've saved, Miss Bella had sent me this, for, I think for something else, but it's a raven pouch, but it is perfect for my Mildred Payne things. So I haven't kept every single little thing, I don't think, that I've ever received, like some of these extra cards. I did keep some of those, but there are like some larger like photograph things, I think, and such that I haven't kept. Just the stuff like this is sealed, and well, that has the photograph in it. It has the map and all that kind of stuff. So some of the stuff I've kept. I can't say that I've kept every single thing, but maybe I have. That's just awesome. And so now we have a little black envelope to add into the whole. I think this was the original pouch for it. That's not going to fit in there, but I just keep it with that. And this is again the Gravedigger's ID or certification. And so now we have this new one. I'm just going to try to carefully. That's going to rip a little bit. That's all right. There we go. So here we have the cards. We have, again, a little extra card. I don't know if there's an extra. Nope. So we have an extra card here. It says, "Beware the back door, Sister Josephine." And then it has like a creepy image of Sister Josephine. So obviously has something to do with the whole story. I should actually probably just put these. There has a picture of Mildred Payne. That was, I think, the original one. Yeah, just some random little cards, which should all be able to go into this. Well, actually, I'll keep this one into the black envelope because I'm going to keep that. Anyways, I am meandering and just enjoying the experience. So that can go back into here, and that will all kind of stay in the pouch too. So here is our 15 cards. I've seen the first one, which is a dragon. Let me zoom in even farther. So here we have the dragon. I'm going to turn this over, but it should be very, oh, they're not in order. Nope, let's just look at them first and then we'll come back. So we have the dragon, the wish, I love, love, love that. The book, every good cartomancy deck, fortune telling deck needs a book card. Rope, I love this. There's another deck that I have that has a rope card, and I really love it because it's almost like pulling the curtain back. There's a lot of things you could do with rope. A lifeline. We have a mushroom, the scourge, so this would be similar to the whip card, just a little more painful than the standard whip on Lenormand. The shield, I love this. There's a shield, I think, in, oh, I'm blanking, Madame Endora's that I love when it comes up. We have a comet, foretelling of something about to happen, that's how I see it. Sorry, these are very tiny and it's hard to move them without moving the whole thing. Here we have the shell. Herb, oh, I love that. The hat, a witch's hat. A diamond, love that. The owl, I'd seen that one. A feather, love it, love it, love it. And a bone. So I really like these extra cards. As you can see, they're really not, yes, the whip is obviously more negative in tonality, at least in terms of Lenormand. The mushroom can go either way. It can be sustenance, but there's also some crazy, oops, you guys can't even see me anymore. Let's zoom back. I know this is an awkward video, but we're just opening something together and playing around. Most of these, though, I think are really great additions to balancing. Although, as I said, if you watch my balancing video, if anything, the Mildred Payne is maybe slightly skewed just by a card or two towards more of a positive, and or just where they can go either way. So let's look these up here and just see what they say. Even though, with this type of deck, I just kind of go with whatever I feel. Thankfully, they're not putting the dragon as something negative, because I very much love dragons. And for me, they are about magnificent power, strength, courage, honor, a guardian, good fortune, wisdom that's passed on. Now I'm going off on my own thing. So this is very much how I see dragons and how I would read the dragon card, regardless of what that said. But there we have it. 83 is the wish. So this is a desired outcome, hoping for the impossible, grand visions of the future, just as we would think of for wish. Again, these aren't hard to, come to the meanings of the cards. The book is about knowledge, education, research, communication. Not so much about, well, you're communicating knowledge. Also escape from reality. So similar to book cards in fortune-telling decks. The rope is a strong connection or bond, or being tied up or entangled in a situation. So that can go either way, which it makes sense. The mushroom is, now they have the mushroom as being a negative. So failure, poor decisions, doubt, taking a risk. Is this an edible mushroom, or is this a mushroom that is poisonous? You're taking a risk. And a growing problem. So they're definitely looking at mushroom as a more negative connotation. Again, I think that you can go either way with that, right? That could be, if you know the right thing, if you've got the information and the knowledge, you can pick the right mushroom, right? Scourge is about discipline, punishment, extreme suffering, subjugation, shame, negative, cycles. I would probably read this very similar to the Lenormand whip. Shield is protection or preservation. It can be isolating, though. It's a defensive barrier that can be isolating, which is, I like that. Now, again, they have the comment as disaster, turmoil, catastrophe, destruction, and a bad omen. So I can see that. You have something falling to earth that is going to slam into the earth, and so it could hit somebody. Probably did tend to portend, if you think about the old things when they saw lights in the skies, it was generally something bad was about to happen. So I can certainly see that as being the case. But it can just be an omen in the sky as well, I guess. Shell is peaceful, peace of mind, tranquil emotions. It can also be withdrawing into the shell. Here we have herb for healing and medicine. So one of the things that's nice is that if we do keep to their meanings, which again, nobody's required to do, you can have the mushrooms as the more negative aspect of herb craft. And then you can have the actual herb card for being more along the lines as medicine and healing and that type of thing. Although it even says it may indicate something to add or something to avoid, depending on whether or not it's a good, because even herbs can have effects that you're not looking for. So both of these, you do need to be careful and know what you're putting into your body. We have the hat here for our identity. I think that's interesting, so it kind of runs like a mask. I can't remember, is there a mask in? I don't think so. I think that's in my charm casting set. I'm just skimming real quick here, because I like that idea, actually. Oh, excuse me for yawning. Nope. I like that because it kind of functions like a mask. The hat kind of identifies who we are in some way. It's a choice or a role that you're going to play in your life. So I like that. That's pretty cool. The diamond is about clarity. So think about, the Ace of Swords. Also royalty, enduring love. If you give somebody obviously a ring, a promise, invincibility, you know, you can cut glass with a diamond. So a lot of ways that you could go with that. Owl is obviously knowledge, but this has it as ancient knowledge and deep mysteries. This is a lot like the Deste owl. The owl would have been seen as the familiar of Katina, and or I don't know if you would use the term familiar, but certainly an animal companion. And so it's seen as that sort of deep wisdom and mystery and intuition, very high priestessy vibe. The feather is for actual messages from beyond. I love this idea of the messages from beyond, a gift from above, something that floats down and gives you this sort of message from things across the veil. I really love that. And then the bone is about mortality, leaving something behind, having something to hide, strong foundations. Like what's at the heart, you know, what's the bone that holds you up? When you do leave this earth or something leaves this earth, it does leave, you know, the bones get left behind, right? Everything else can be sort of reappropriated, but the bones are still there. It is what's left. So that's pretty cool as well. So there you have them. Now I'm just going to, oh, I don't have it right here. I'm just going to use a black Sharpie and hope that they just all blend in if it's not what I used. So with edging, I learned this from my friend Itzy, you know, always think the back of the card to the marker is usually your best bet, although it doesn't matter as much on this set, because you do have sort of blacking or vignetting, I guess, along the edge. And so seeing the black line a bit isn't going to hurt this one at all. But you'll get a little less of that if you go from the side and kind of tip down. Again, I like that on this particular deck, so I'm not worried about it. So I'm just going to get these blacked, and no matter what, they'll stand out a little bit because the other one is a well-used deck. But oops, like that. If you press, you know, this one, I'm probably ready to get a new marker, and I'll show you that in 1 second here. Again, I don't care on this deck because of the type of deck it is, but you'll start to get where the marker tip has got grooves in it, and if it falls into that groove, you can get a pretty good black line. So if that's not something that you want to have happen, you know, you can move it around. You can also go kind of to the side, and sometimes that can help you not get so much of a black line. Generally, when I am using black as a border or an edge, it's on a deck that doesn't matter as much, but I can definitely tell that I'm going to need to replace this, because just in case, it's a deck that I really want to try to avoid, because you can, if you have a fresh marker and hold the marker right, you can do this without having barely any kind of visible line onto the front. Again, it only adds to the flavor of this deck, so I'm not worrying about it. Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with these extra cards. I think that there's a lot that you can do with them. I think they're going to enhance the deck. I also, you know, this is a hard deck to shuffle, I will say, because you know, it's so small and then there's so many cards. I've kind of given up trying to riffle shuffle it. Although I can, it's just not great. And I tend to just swish them about. I don't really use reversals with it, but I just swish them about, and then when I lay them out for the reading, I just put them right side up. And that seems to have worked perfectly fine for me. The only thing that I would love to see is a version of this playing card size. Okay. They are mowing outside, but I'm going to try to obviously get this in before they are moving right underneath me. So generally, like I said, because it's now 80 cards, yeah, 84 cards now. And yes, it looks like, well, two things. Either I didn't use a Sharpie and I used like a Tombow, or is it just because this is very well worn? So I have used this a lot. So this will start to even out as it goes, and obviously once it's mixed in. It's about impossible, if not impossible, to riffle shuffle it, because smaller decks are hard to riffle anyways, and then there's just too many that are there that makes it really hard. So I have been just washing them. So this is what I tend to do with this, is give it a good old wash shuffle, because it's just easier to shuffle that way. And then when I lay them out, I don't treat them as reversals, and I just state that, you know, I just state at the beginning of, if I'm doing a reading for somebody, that this is how I shuffle this deck. And of course now it's going to be extra pain in the butt. It usually comes together fairly quickly, but that I don't use reversals in this system, and so I'll just be putting them up face up. Give it a couple little overhands. As I said, it's a chunky deck, right? Because this is more than a tarot deck, and it's in this little tiny size. So it definitely makes for some awkwardness. And then you can go about, oh, I love that I got the dragon. Hello, dragon. Well, hello, dragon. It's so nice to see you right where you belong. You're looking swell. Let's just go to Hello Dolly. Let's go to the world of Hello Dolly. I need to kind of take a look and see if I feel like any of the cards are repetitive to energy, because we do have the broom card. However, let's see how they define it, which I kind of already use as the kind of the broom and the whip card. But what I like is that separates the more negative aspects. So that is 39. Yeah, this is more about cleaning, getting things in order. They also have the broom as an erotic encounter. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't even know why the broom would have to do with that. But regardless, the broom can stay with getting things in order, cleaning things up, that kind of energy, where now the whip, which makes more sense for that negative repetitive cycle that you get stuck in. So I do like that. Here we have the fetus, the shovel, the puppet, the moon, Saturn. Oops, sorry about her. And then over here, for me, that's kind of the ending of the reading that I do, or that's the thing. So, yeah, I love it. I will see, I'm going to go through real quick and see Isabel Louise, because clearly I can't like get a solid state video today. So I will pause this for a minute and see if there's any that I think might overlap, and how that may or may not be the case. Okay, so I pulled some things out. I kind of just skimmed through to see if there's anything that I think, you know, just on a visual level might overlap, just to get a little bit of a feel. Not necessarily even, but mostly with the new cards. So, like, we think of the mushroom as what can be in terms of something that you could eat that is a little bit poisonous. The poison, and we do have a poison, right? So this is more about toxic people or toxic situations, or sort of accepting something that isn't good for you. So this is a little bit more directly about toxic people, toxic situations, whereas the mushroom is a little bit more along the lines of taking a gamble. Like, if you don't know, whether, you know, if you don't have all of the information and you kind of eat that mushroom, that could go bad or that could go ill for you. So for me, this would be more of a lack of information, and you're taking a risk if you don't, take the time to find that information out. So I actually like that. So I think that to me could be done very differently. Oh, I did think maybe Saturn and I thought I finished going through these, but maybe I didn't. So I should probably finish going through these. So we could look at the skull and the bone. Here's the antidote to the poison, which I love. Here's the bone, so we'll look at those two. I kind of thought the Saturn and the comet, those seem to be both negative ideas. So technically a candle in the lighthouse, although because they're both kind of illuminating. The boy and the girl make sense. The arrow makes sense. The house, the umbrella, the coin. We have obviously the sun, moon, and I think I put those back in there, but those are quite different. We have the storm, foot, trumpet, fire, boot, bell, stick. Love this rope. Time, shell, blood, the cat, the spider, the fish, pentacle, the frog, the tooth. You kind of have some bones here. Love the cauldron, the key, and this one is interesting. That one is about sudden insights, where we do have some clarity here. And then let's see with the eye is more about omniscience, knowledge, vigilance, honesty, and bearing. It's more about the gaze. You're seeing something, you're bearing witness to something, which I think can be different than even say I'm trying to find it, the owl, which was speaking of more of deeper mysteries. So yes, there is a keen observation there, but it's more in the sense of deeper mysteries and your intuitive knowledge, although we can think of the third eye that way too. But this is more about being observing keenly, I think. But at least that's what I would do. 43 is sudden insights, prophetic glimpses into the future. So this is more about going inward, and that's more of going to the future, and this is more looking at the present. So you can see there are some differentiations there. The candle is about spiritual enlightenment, hope, and life, whereas the lighthouse is strength to weather a storm, something that's going to help you navigate through something, the rocky shoals of the thing. So you can definitely read those differently, a little bit overlapping there. We have the tree and the stump. Obviously, those are very different energies. I just put them together because they were tree. We have the strength and growth of the tree, successes in life, stability, reaching new heights. Whereas with the stump, something that ends prematurely. It's a lot more like the scythe card here. Now we do have the hag and the devil, so you could say, those could be similar. The hag is about fears and nightmares, or malicious encounters, which you could think of all of those things with the devil. So let's see what they say about the devil. Evil, nasty habits, deceit, and abuse. So for me personally, I would read this more of those things that you're afraid of, the things under the bed, that kind of thing. Whereas the devil for me would be more like the devil in tarot, more of abdication. The devil made me do it. I'm giving over my responsibility. So that's how those would be different for me, myself, and I. The heart is about strong emotions, affection, love. And yes, they have, so truthfully, you could almost do this as the heart in Lenormand and the ring in Lenormand if you wanted that long-term commitment versus that that there, which you could also do with the rope, to be honest, because it's talk about the ties that bind. So you could leave this to do with that sharp, clean clarity of air energy, so to speak, and use the rope and the heart. But probably a lot of people would use those as similar to the heart and the ring. We talked about the mushroom and the herb. Let's see what the flower is. I like that we have flowers, herbs, and mushrooms like that. I think is fantastic to have. Let's see what number is flower, 23. This is just about beauty and gifts. This is more like the bouquet card. And this is more to do with healing and things of that nature. The different ways that we can use herbs. So those to me are different. Sorry, my phone is like way over there. This is the most unorganized video in a while. I apologize. Saturn is about adversity and hardships, whereas the comet is sort of a foretelling of difficult things that may be ahead. So those are different there. We talked about the broom in the wind. This is more cleansing and cleaning, whereas now this takes on the Lenormand connotations of falling into repetitive negative cycles that you can see there. The skull here is the death card, basically. So you can use that as this idea of the period. Oh my goodness. Now this does have a little bit this idea of feelings of mortality, which was in the bones, but this is much more about the end of a cycle, much like you would see the death card, versus the foundation and what's left behind. And then the tooth here is about losing something that you expected to be permanent, right? You were expecting, and it's also to do with illness, where you're just not in good health and your teeth start falling out, which we have nightmares of, right? Or that's one of the common nightmares that people have. So I think that there can be some little bit of overlap, but as long as you kind of come to an understanding of how you're going to see those symbols, I think they actually will all work really well together. So there you have it. Another look at the Deviant Moon's Mildred Payne's Secret Pocket Oracle. I just love this deck. It's a treat. It reads really, really well. As I said, it's actually quite a balanced deck. And so I have no issue with readings being skewed or overly negative by any means. And again, I will put a link to those videos in the description. Again, my only caveat would be that I would love for there to be a, you know, like a poker size. Let's just see on a whim. I don't think so. I think it was pretty tight in here. Can you get it in? Nope. Definitely not. So that's pretty much worthless. I'll actually probably put my other deck that I need to send to my friend into there. And I don't even think I'll try to squeeze it into there. I'll just put it into the bag. So, yeah, I mean, you can get all kinds of little bags. So, you know, get a little bag, stick it in the little bag, and you are good to go. So, hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day.